All right, guys. Now we're going to talk about the quarterback room for Utah football. This is part of the series we're doing, breaking down all of this football positions for Utah headed into the spring game. Should be a ton of fun. We're going to talk about all 4 or 5 guys that are currently on the roster. We're going to break them down, and we're going to see kind of what we're looking at as this group. Obviously, we've got the figurehead, the man, the myth, the legend, the number one, the one and only. He'll be talked about quite a bit here, but the more exciting and more in-depth conversation will definitely be about the guys behind him and what that looks like. Before we dive in, guys, please make sure you guys smash the like button. That'll help get the video out to more Utah fans, and it'll let me know you guys appreciate the content. Comment down below if you guys agree on where my thoughts are on this room and on each player. I'd love to hear what you think. And then if you could, please subscribe to the channel. We put out a ton of Utah Utes football content. If you're into this type of video, make sure you guys, subscribe and follow along. We'll be putting out this type of content for about 2 weeks. We're going to go through every single position group on the team. And on that note, let's go ahead and dive in and let's talk about this Utah football quarterback room. All right, and here we go. The quarterback room for Utah football heading into the 2024 spring football game. We got Cam Rising here. Okay, so Cam Rising, big time player, one of the best players in college football, in my opinion. A guy that literally it felt like without him last year, and there were other people that weren't there, but without him, it really felt like the lights were off on this offense. And from what I understand, part of that was because we were game planning around the fact that he was coming back. The other thing is it is concerning that we were looking like that without one player. Obviously, the quarterback always matters a ton, but is what it is. So Cam Rising he's coming back this year. He is going to be a legit stud. He is going to be the QB1, undisputed. And he hopefully is teaching a lot of these good younger guys on the roster quite a bit and, molding them to be future great players for the Utah football team. Now, Cam Rising, like I said, without him, we were really struggling. You would have to be a Utah fan living under a rock over the past few years to not know who he is. He's a monster. He is a guy that is going to light up the field this year. 3,500 plus yards, 4,000 passing, and then 4,000 plus total yards is what I'm expecting from him. And he's a guy that has the potential to lead this team to a limitless ceiling in college football. All right, next guy we're talking about is Brandon Rose. Brandon Rose, the guy has been on the team for a couple years. A guy that heading into the season last year was supposedly the backup to Cam Rising and looked pretty good doing it. And I was very excited about him. And on top of that, he goes into the spring football game and just slices and dices the defense. Real good decision maker, real accurate thrower. Wasn't a huge sample size, but what we did see from him was very impressive. By the way, Cam Rising is not just a star, but the star on the team, if that wasn't already clear. I've got Brandon Rose listed as solid depth. He's a guy where if something does happen to Cam, with all the hype and the little we've seen from him, but the impressiveness in the little we've seen from him, he's a guy that I expect to be able to get us to some wins if Cam can't be there, or at least keep us competitive if needed. So Brandon Rose, he was a guy, like I said, been in the offense for a couple years. I'm excited about him. Solid depth. If we need him in, he probably isn't the worst option. Now, Isaac Wilson was a really tough one for me. And I'm actually going to have Isaac listed as deep depth. And it's not because of his talent or where I think his ability is. I think he's awesome, and I really do believe he has potential to be the future of this Utah football team. The reason I have him as deep depth is I just don't think it's a good thing. One, I don't want to burn his red shirt, and then two, he's so young and so new to college football that it will not be great. If we really think that we are a national champion contender, which I do think we are, I'm not saying we're in the top 4 or 5 most likely, but we're in that top 10 range of national contenders. It is not going to be a good thing if Isaac Wilson is starting multiple games, if that's our goal. And it's not about his talent. It's about the fact that a freshman can be quite easy to game plan against for an experienced defensive coordinator. But that's Isaac Wilson, a guy that I really do expect a ton from, but he is deep depth for now. He's deep depth. Okay, Luke Batari. Now, he was another tough one for me where, yes, he is deep depth, obviously. We wouldn't want him to be our immediate backup, hopefully, but he looked okay when he came in. Not good, but he looked okay when he came in against Colorado last year. And a guy that I don't think he doesn't suck, right? He's not a terrible player or anything like that. I think Luke Batari, if as the deep depth guy, I would want him in probably over Isaac, where it's like, hey, just get a guy in there that can run our system well enough to keep us in the game. Not looking for him to make plays, just looking for him to run the system. I'm not saying for sure he'd do better than Isaac Wilson, but Luke Batari, deep depth, not a terrible option. McLeod Croughton, not that familiar with him. Number 17. Not that familiar, and a guy really deep depth. I think if he's seeing the field, that's probably not a good thing. Not that I think he sucks. I really don't know that much about him, but a lot of time when you really don't know about a player and you're in deep to this as I am, it's not a good thing if they're seeing the field. So that is the quarterback room. All right, guys. So that was the Utah football quarterback room heading into the spring game. Obviously, we had Cam Rising, who you're expecting a ton from. But I do think there was some interesting discussion on the backup situation. You know, Brandon Rose, Isaac Wilson, and Luke Batari. I think how that kind of mixes out. I think you have at least optimism that you're getting a solid backup, potentially two out of that room. I would say you probably don't want to go too much deeper than your backup there. It's not because you have Isaac Wilson, but he's not super seasoned, and you don't want to be relying on him to win games. But I'm guessing Brandon Rose is going to be the backup. Cam Rising will be the starter, and if needed, Brandon Rose can come out there and hopefully win us some games if needed. So that's the room there. If you guys appreciated the video, please make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, comment down below. What are your thoughts on these different guys? Do you agree with how I have the pseudo depth chart ordered and what my thoughts are on each guy? Also, don't forget, we're going to be putting out content like this for every position group for the spring football game. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We'll get a new video basically every day almost leading up to the game. So make sure you guys subscribe. And on that note, I'm out of here. Go Utes.